Get the most complete tiling DVD ever developed. Planning, installation, regulations, maintenance, and more. Buy it today at agphd.com and order your copy of my new book, $100 an Hour Jobs, Lessons from Dad, all at agphd.com.
Our weed of the week is common lambsquarters. Now that's one of the things right away with this weed. It's lambsquarters with an S at the end. Even if there's only one of them, it's one of those confusing things when you start learning about weeds.
Well, now that we've got our spelling test out of the way for today, let's talk about how to control this weed. Here's what makes lambsquarters so tough. Even when the plant is small, you could have lots of growing points. We'll often see a 4 or 6 inch tall plant have 20 or 30 growing points. And the problem is with herbicides, you've got to kill every single one of those growing points in order for that lambsquarters plant to die.
Well, it's not a perennial plant. It's not one that has rhizomes that run under the ground and pop up new shoots or anything like that. It's just a simple annual weed, Brian. That shouldn't be that tough.
Simple, but when you have that many growing points, it does make it difficult. So for example, in some areas, farmers are saying, well, my lambsquarters plants are Roundup resistant. And I just say, you know what, you probably didn't get good enough spray coverage or didn't use a high enough rate, because when I go out and look at the lambsquarters plant, every single growing point died except for the bottom 2, and then they put out some shoots, and all of a sudden you got now 2 lambsquarters plants growing out of 1.
But here's what I don't understand. It's a small-seeded broadleaf weed. We can control it with pre-emerge products. Why do we even have to worry about it post-emerge? We should be able to take care of most of them in just about any crop.
But the problem is a lot of farmers aren't using pre-emerge herbicides. So here's what we suggest you do. In soybeans, if it was me, I'd start out with something like Valor or Authority, and for that matter, even Treflan, Sonalan, and Prowl, they're pretty good on lambsquarters as well. In corn, you could use Harness, you could use Surpass, you could use Sure Start, Triple Flex. There are a number of different products there too, Integrity, a whole bunch of them. And the point is, none of these products will probably be 100% on lambsquarters. Yeah, many of them will be 95%, maybe even 99%. You're still going to have a few stragglers that come through. How are you going to control them post-emerge in corn, soybeans, and wheat?
Well, in corn, it's pretty easy. Brian's old friend Status is pretty effective, but also Callisto and Laudas do a really nice job on lambsquarters too. In soybeans, when you've got lambsquarters, you could go with Harmony. You could do a number of different products. Flexstar, Cobra, those burners, they're okay, but they aren't very good.
Yeah, and even the Harmony is not perfect. In wheat, Husky would probably be my preference, but there are a number of other products that'll work there as well. And one thing too we didn't mention, in wheat, I would probably use Prepare down, and that will help on lambsquarters.
And one last thing, we got so excited about talking about killing this weed that we forgot to tell you about identifying it. It's actually fairly easy to identify. It typically has a silver powder on the upper leaves and a little purplish color towards kind of the center of those leaves. That's how I identify lambsquarters.
Well, that's it for our Weed of the Week, but stay tuned. Iron Talk is coming up next.